Do a little post whenever it comes up.
And
Bring folk in.
And I think we're rolling, Bob.
Okay.
I am definitely going to have to.
I can't believe I'm wearing this hat, brother. That's how much I
Did you
friggin'
lose
love
a
you, man.
bet? Did you lose a bet?
No, there we go. We're live. No,
All
I
right.
just I felt it, man. I felt
All
you
right.
know what?
I
Felt the
appreciate
vibe, man.
that.
Felt your vibe, brother.
I appreciate that. Good whimsical Wednesday. Ha. I'm stealing stuff from other shows now. It's the Evan and Aaron show. This is my buddy Evan. I'm Aaron. Evan, for no good reason, is wearing an IU hat, and I do appreciate it. But it just reminds me of their inability to close out games, and that's just sad. But I am once again surrounded by the beauty of the beautiful game.
Yes, your perspective has changed, my friend.
I've got Indy 11, who announced that for this season they'll be back playing at the Mike, which is so much better than Lucas Oil.
Oh, wow.
And that they will be unveiling plans for 11 Park in March. So hopefully that's a good thing. And then welcome to the show and welcome to Manchester United, dropping 9 goals yesterday. 9.
That was.
I'm going to have 9 times as many drinks tonight.
Oh, wow. Wow. And hey, here's to Chelsea for getting back on the winning path, the winning ways, with Thomas.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be an interesting game. Tomorrow,
the derby will, with Tottenham, I'd like to get that win, obviously, with Jose. But I have a soft spot for Mourinho in my heart. So, but I want Chelsea to win. So anyway.
Well, of course. And I thought Tuchel's response today was kind of funny when they asked him about, the Dele Alli potential move to PSG.
Oh, okay.
Falling through. And of course, Tuchel used to coach at PSG, but he doesn't. So Tuchel's response was, I think you might be in the wrong press conference. I thought that was good.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Hey, welcome everybody. I'm glad to have you with us tonight. Got some fun, interesting things to chat about. First off, as we should, it's the third of the month, but still early in the month. So it's Black History Month. Yet again, 100 years of beautiful culture relegated to the shortest month of the year. It's almost like it was planned.
Oh yeah, almost.
I know that you've been posting kind of a person of the day to talk about, and I know that you are most certainly talking about it in your class at school. And obviously, the way social media works is you and I cannot be interacting, but I'll see you interacting, on a public post. So I see you interacting with other people. You see me interacting with other people. So
don't tell a certain person that I still participate in racist Olympics. Okay, don't do it, man. She'll get me.
I kind of want to I want to play a little devil's advocate, and I want to say up front that I think most of these thoughts are, if people are willing to actually ask the question, then they'd probably be able to answer the question for themselves. But these are the common retorts that you'll hear. So I kind of want to get your quick perspective. There's no need to go in depth on these because it doesn't really require that much intellectual effort. You can tell that a lot of people who ask these questions are doing so because they just want to fight back. They just want to shoot back. So what do you have to say to somebody who says, why isn't there a White History Month?
Because all 12 months, even Black History Month, is White History Month. I mean, literally, that is the most ignorant, most dumb response ever.
Yeah,
I mean, you're right.
Absolutely.
That just doesn't. Yeah.
What about the people who say that Slavery doesn't exist. Civil rights movement has happened. There's been a black president. Why do we still need Black History Month?
Check the 13th Amendment.
Good answer. Good answer.
We still are a country with slavery. That's what I say. And say, go do your research. So,
well, and yeah.
I mean, and you're right, man. You and I could sit here and we could dissect these all night long, but these are responses that you see, and you're right. It doesn't require that much brain energy, because it shouldn't require that much brain energy. People are just being belligerent.
Well, and people asking the question aren't asking for an answer. They're asking for a fight, because they've either not asked themselves the question and therefore think it's somehow clever.
Yep.
Or they have asked themselves the question and they just truly don't get it, because, I got into an argument with somebody who was like, oh yeah, what a thing to celebrating thugs and gangsters and rioters. And I chose to sort of tangentially engage with this person, because I don't think they warrant the type of true intellectual response, because they haven't put forth the effort. Because the easy response to that is because they're celebrating a particular culture. Otherwise, the response to that would be, well, then why isn't Americans' history books just full of slavery, genocide, invading other countries, and colonialism? That's the worst. That's the worst part of American history, and we gloss over it for other things. So there may be a time and a place to talk about the preponderance of gangs that exist in African American communities, specifically in the urban areas, and why that exists. There's a conversation to be had as to why rioting at certain times might be seen as righteous insurrection. Those are discussions, but that person doesn't want to have that conversation. You know what I mean?
Go ahead and ask me about the gangs.
Why are so many black people in gangs, Evan?
Largest gang in U.S. history is KKK.
See,
I mean,
we're lobbing softballs at this point.
I know that's exactly it, man.
And this is what I find so annoying, is that there's just so intellectual effort put forth. I've already arrived at the conclusion I want to have, and anything there operates on that. So to engage with these people, much like, which to say these people and then to compare them to Trump voters is once again a Venn diagram that looks like a zero. It's just not worth my time. It's why I don't really like getting into arguments about, the existence of God and stuff like that anymore.
Yeah, I know.
I've done it.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I've done it, and I've put forth the effort, and there are good responses on both sides. If you want to delve into the weeds of that, I'm quite happy to do so, but I'm not going to have this superficial. Why isn't there a White History Month? Because you're stupid. You're stupid. There isn't one because you missed the day of voting.
Yeah.
You're dumb.
Hey, I got to say something real quick. Couple things. Number one, Roger, I don't know if you have any more, but Roger brought up one that I hear, a lot, and it not just the Irish, but other groups. Well, the Irish were slaves too.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
So slaves were indentured servants, and they're look. It's it tells me how sort of not analytical somebody is, to want to engage in that, right? Because what value is there in having a oppression contest, right?
Yeah.
Because Native Americans have had it fucking bad. The Irish, the Chinese, honestly, any immigrant that came here and was not white European, right? And the Irish were viewed as sort of a mongrel kind of thing. Mm-hmm. They're not pure British. So everybody that's come here has experienced it, but to try to get into a conversation, like what's the value of that? Oh, I don't know. Native Americans had it worse because, you know, we gave them the blankets
It's
and,
like this.
and then,
This is not the oppression Olympics, man. I
well,
mean,
and
it just
that's the thing. And you could have a conversation. The Chinese could talk about what they went through. The Japanese could talk about what they went through. And
yeah.
then there would just be a whole bunch of those women on the sideline going, yeah. And then there's us.
Hello.
So yeah, there's not much value in it. So good.
Oh,
That was a fun little exercise.
But the second thing I want to say is that my dad is on and mom is probably in the background. So I don't believe in censoring myself. You know, but brother, there may be some words that I may not say.
Well, that's fine.
Mama Bear's watching, man. I'm a grown ass man and I'm saying this.
So an interesting kind of converse of those weak questions. What would it take for you to say we don't need Black History Month anymore?
Wow. Okay, so I'm speaking for me, obviously, you know, because I can't speak for all Black people. I have to go to the monthly meeting and get the permission from
get
all
the
Black
memo
people.
and yeah, all right.
Yeah, I got to get the, you know, sticker that says he speaks for all of us.
Now, is it a 2/3 majority vote or is it just 51%?
3/5. 3/5, man. 3/5. You know. Oh, I hope you got that one.
That's maybe the best joke we've made on this show.
Thank you so much.
I mean, really.
I think for me, just plainly speaking, and this is why we will always have a Black History Month, is literally when people's heart changes. You cannot legislate people's feelings. You cannot legislate the way people have been conditioned until the conditioning changes. And well, there it is. Gia just said it. When white supremacy dies. When the conditioning shifts, when we stop looking at Black men as threats, when we stop looking at Black women as liabilities to the economy, when we stop looking at Black children, 4, 5, 6, 7 years older than what they really are, when we stop throwing them in the backseat of police cars, pepper spraying them and saying things on Facebook like, well, you know, if she's kicking and screaming, then you got to do something to control it. I'm like, just shut up. You know, I think this is when that culture dies, then we don't need Black History Month. That is probably never going to happen. So the second best thing is a total rewrite of our history books. I would come close to saying, okay, if we had a true representation of what American history really was, if we really had the story of Greenwood, if we really had the story of Rosewood, if we, really understood that, during that time, in order to be a white ally was to put your own neck on the line, like literally put your neck on the line. It's not just putting a black box on Instagram. If we have an understanding of the foundation of this country and we rewrote history books, maybe. Yeah. But it's necessary, man. It's necessary. So
well,
that's my 2 cents.
I totally agree. One, unfortunately, I don't think we'll ever not need it because I don't think we will progress at the rate that's necessary to achieve that. More importantly, sorry about that. I don't even know if that came through. But I think just as importantly, I think even if we did make the cultural advances that we want to see that could lead to what you're talking about, I still think there would be some value to it in the same way that I think that there could be value to, there's value to, celebrations. I'm just going to throw this out there arbitrarily, but like Oktoberfest.
Oh man.
I know it's about drinking beer, but it's also about learning about a little, we have a shared German history, a lot of German history in this country.
Sure.
Black History Month started out as Black History Week, and it was meant to, look to celebrate a very specific group of Black people. And it has evolved over time. I'd love to see it evolve over time into the more obscurities out there, because the more Black history is taught in our schools, the more it becomes mainstream and the more it does enter the
Right.
consciousness and it's collective, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And then you could get down to, all right, you're probably never going to talk about this person, but let's talk about, an artist from,
Yeah.
let's talk about, taggers, early graffiti artists. And again, I'm just throwing this out there, but
No, you're right.
these are things that aren't going to get talked about even once we get to mainstream, just because you'll realize how many great Black people have contributed to our culture.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't teach everything in a normal history class. That's why you have the other classes. That's why you have
Yeah.
these arts and
Yep.
and other things to talk about them. So I'd like to see it get to a point where it evolved to that.
I think one of the yeah, it's about the beer, damn it. I love that.
It
I
is.
love that, Roger. In class today, just today, we were talking about in humanities, we were talking about the music of protest. And they got a heavy dose of things you wouldn't think about. Did they hear Rage? Absolutely, they heard Rage Against the Machine. Did they hear Bob Dylan? Absolutely, they did. Did they hear James Brown? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Black and I'm proud. We want to talk about all the other things James Brown did, all the dancing stuff and stuff. Mm-hmm. Did they hear Curtis Mayfield? Yes, they did. They heard Curtis Mayfield. Did they hear Common? Yeah, they heard all this stuff. They heard stuff that they hadn't heard before. And they were able to see the reason behind protest twofold. Number one is to bring people together and to bring awareness to an issue. And so the major driving force behind a lot of protests in America are on the backs of women and on the backs of minorities, specifically the Black community. Yep. You have obviously LGBTQ rights. You've got, you've got labor issues, labor rights, Cesar Chavez, those guys who did great work. But the majority of social issues rest on the backs of women and people of color, specifically Blacks in this country so far. And so students need to hear about this. They need to hear those stories. They need to hear about the Fred Hamptons. They need to hear about those people that you don't necessarily hear about, the Assata Shakurs. Yes, they need to hear about Angela Davis. They need to hear about all of them. That's what good education does.
Yeah.
That's what good educators do. They find ways to get that stuff in so that students can learn and they can be interested in learning about people of color, specifically Black folks during Black History Month.
What is the, just ballpark figure, the racial makeup of your classes?
I would say probably 40, 30, 20. 40% African-American, 30% Hispanic, 20% Caucasian.
What's the gender makeup that you can tell?
Yeah, I'd say probably 60-40 female.
Yeah. So you've got plurality of people of color, mm-hmm. and a majority of women. Do you feel that type of makeup has changed how discussions occur?
I will say this, it's made it easier. When I first started, I probably had when I first started teaching, I probably had a 70 to 75% Caucasian ratio. Mm-hmm. And so to teach these type of things, it was like the first 3 weeks, Aaron, was like pulling teeth. It mm-hmm. really was. I had one student say to me, and he was an awesome student in the class. By the end of the class, he was cool. He was great. But like at the beginning of the class, he looked through the syllabus and he's like, well, when do we get to talk about white folks? And I literally said to him in class, and I did not say it, mean or anything. I said, you've been talking about white folks for the past 12 years of your education. 13, mm-hmm. counting kindergarten. I'm like, it's time to learn about someone different. And he settled in, and I got to be honest with you, man, he got one of the highest grades in that class.
That's what good education does. That's
Well,
a good
yeah.
educator.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But I think that's what happens whenever you introduce young people
Mm-hmm.
to concepts from a different point of view. They're able to see it from a Black person's point of view, from a woman's point of view. In a couple of weeks, we're going to have a women's forum discussing just regular issues, and it's going to be great because a lot of my male students, they don't. I'm not going to say they don't respect a female voice, because a lot of them come from a place where you had better respect a female voice. But when it comes to issues, they don't necessarily pause to hear a female's point of view. And I said, no, that's got to stop. And so our entire forum discussing COVID, discussing, George Floyd, discussing the Black Lives Matter, and then, January 6th, those questions are going to be answered exclusively by women. And so the beautiful thing about that is you have these young men who are learning from these women concepts that, that it's not talking about the typical, female concepts in the patriarchal mind. These are real life issues. And so I love the richness that can happen. And it's not so much, and once again, I appreciate it's not so much being a good educator. It's just being in the right place at the right time and seeing, standing on the shoulders of other educators and saying, wow, that's a good idea. But I digress, man. I don't know.
No. I asked you the question. So, no, I think that was great. I was interested to hear because, you teach at and for a unique type of school.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's one school at another school, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool that it's happening. And it seems like you're both sort of forging a path and navigating an existing one at the same time and doing a very good job of it. So kudos to you, sir.
Thank you, brother.
It's a few minutes early, but I think we might as well go ahead and do halftime.
And I know it's your week, but I have a quick one.
Do it.
Okay. Talk to him on the phone, and the reason why I got this shot glass is because it's my father's birthday today.
Oh,
and,
that's why they're watching.
Hopefully we've earned a watch or two after this, but this goes to Bill Casey. Everybody knows back home that he is the best backyard athlete of all time. The guy could he is the pickup king, the pickup game king, man. He's got a reputation. What's that?
Bob knows. Bo knows. Bob knows.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Dad is he's got a reputation back at home, man. Right. The guy can ball, man. He can ball. So
right on.
Dad, happy birthday. And he said to tell you this, Aaron. He said he's 72 years old today. And he said, I'm 72. I feel like 52. And I look like 32. That's what he said. And I was like, okay, well, there you go, man. Cheers.
I hope I have your confidence at your age, sir. Sláinte. So that deserves its own. The only shout outs I wanted to make were it's unfortunate timing, but probably good timing in terms of, tying the two together because of who she was. But Cicely Tyson passed away recently.
Yeah.
And she was just such a proud Black voice. Hopefully people, as they led into Black History Month, got that in front of them. But I wanted to give a shout out. I retreat to sports for a lot of comfort, and it was a huge part of my upbringing, and it's still a huge part of how I view the world today. I have a weird intersection of sports and philosophy, of things of that nature. So, but I'm not gonna do the here's my favorite Black athletes and what they've contributed, because I want to talk about a little bit of representation and how it matters. So I had an idea, and of course the internet exists. So it reinforced my idea. So I wanted to give props to the early TV shows that were iconically Black in American
Wow.
history, that kind of opened the doors. And I actually even learned a new one. Real quick, go through these. Julia was a show from 1968 to 1971 starring Diane Carroll. Obviously, I wasn't born until 1974, so I've never heard of the show. She portrayed a widowed middle-class nurse raising a small son in the suburbs. I never heard of it, but I will defer to the History Channel on this one. And I also know Diane Carroll was huge, so certainly deserving. Soul Train. I remember Soul Train. I love Soul Train.
Cornelius, man.
It was on when I was a kid. I think it was on like late Saturday morning for some reason.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, I'll also be flipping through channels and catch a rerun as well. Don Cornelius. Love, peace, and soul, my brother. I mean, I learned about like dancing and fashion and music. It is so eye-opening to me, and I'm certain that it in some way contributed to my other, like being a teenage white kid in Greenfield, Indiana, turned on by rap music and soul and funk. So
speaking of which, man, about that show, my dad literally every Sunday be like, "Come here, boy. We're going to teach you about music."
I remember the dancing. And obviously it's a dance show, but I remember the little dance offs, and they'd form the tunnel and everybody comes strolling through. Hell yeah.
Yes.
After that, we got Good Times. Everybody loved Good Times. Everybody loves some Wheezy.
Damn.
Dynamite. I believe I'm not gonna overextend. I'm not gonna speculate on that. Good. I was gonna say I thought Good Times maybe was the show where Janet Jackson made her debut, but it might have actually. Was it?
Yep.
Because it was either that or Different Strokes.
Penny.
Okay. Right on.
I'm gonna get another shot because I think we're gonna take a shot to this, if I'm not mistaken. Correct?
Oh, we probably should. Sure.
Okay. Well, hang on. All right. Keep going. I can hear you.
All righty. Up next, the Jeffersons.
Moving on up.
Wait, do I have it backwards? I do have it backwards. Yeah. Well, it's George and Wheezy, Florida.
Yeah, George and Wheezy.
Florida is
James in Florida.
James in Florida. I called her Wheezy, and I take that back.
I didn't even hear you.
I'm so sorry. I take it back. And I'm scrolling through something. I should have shared my screen, but I'll probably demonetize this if I show somebody else's website.
Yeah, don't do that.
It's funny because the way they've done this is kind of how I would have done it too. Because they've got like a headline and how long the show was on. Like Soul Train, 1971, 2006. Big picture, Don Cornelius and the Soul Train dancers. Good Times, The Family, 1974 to 1979. Yeah. Picture the family, and then the Jeffersons, 1975 to 1985. Did not realize it was on for that long.
It was a long time, man.
Longest running TV show ever, featuring a mostly Black cast, spanning 11 seasons.
First, isn't that the first ongoing interracial couple in a series? Because I know the first interracial.
Oh, because of The Neighborhood. That's a good one. Yes, it was also the first to feature an interracial couple. Yeah. Neighbors Helen and Tom Willis. Yep. So the next one up, they didn't give a banner to, and you can probably guess it. It's the Cosby Show. You got to throw the Cosby Show in there. You can not ignore the two facets of Bill Cosby was a massive TV star for a long period of time. But he has shamed himself. But there's no question that we did not know a damn thing at that time. If he was even engaging in that behavior at that time, probably was. What we do know is that show was on every Thursday night, and we all fucking watched it. And it was on for damn near 10 years. And
we all wanted a Gordon Goodtrail.
We all wanted a Gordon Goodtrail. We all wanted to be as cool as them.
Had a crush on Lisa.
Hell yeah.
Lisa Bonet.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Still do.
Oh yeah.
Just saying.
So then we got a different world, a spinoff of the Cosby Show, following Lisa Bonet to college. And it was probably the first time white Americans, were introduced to what are known as HBCUs. They probably had no idea that there are all black colleges that are considered the equivalent of the Ivy League, and yes, there are. So
Yeah.
you know that was definitely important. Then we had the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I didn't
Oh,
watch it a whole lot because it was right around the
oh,
time I got to college, and I just didn't watch as much TV show.
that's my
Um,
jam, dude.
but it's so, and looking back now, you see how important it is because there's an awful lot of like, yeah, I guess intersectionality for
Yeah.
at least for the time period, because it's very much a show about class as well as race.
Mm-hmm.
And I distinctly recall the episode where Will and Carlton are rushing a fraternity,
Yes.
and
Yep.
they want to take Will, but not Carlton because they say
Not Carlton.
Carlton's a sellout.
Yep.
And it's, you know, it's one of those must watch episode kind of things. But it kind of is, you know. I mean, the Huxtables were a well-to-do, you know. A lot of these shows kind of went back and forth. You know, the
Yeah.
Good Times, you know, that was
Good
a family,
Times.
that was a family making it but struggling to make it, living in the
Yes.
projects. The
Yeah.
Jeffersons, they were doing okay. They, you know, they moved on up
They moved on up
to the east side because he owns a dry cleaning business.
dry cleaning business, man.
So he's upwardly mobile but still dealing with race in America.
Yep.
You got the Cosby Show. I mean, come on, both parents, like the fact that you had two positive parents as doctors. I mean, that was mind blowing. That was whole next
Doctor
level.
and lawyer.
Right?
Doctor
Or
and
yeah,
lawyer.
doctor and lawyer.
Yeah. Yep.
So these like
So-
true professionals, a different world, the black college experience with the one white girl for some reason.
Now, what I was going to say about a different world also addressed colorism too.
Yeah, for sure.
Which was awesome. It was great because it's once again, it's these shows all together that you're mentioning started to break black people out of the monolith that was created for them in America.
Yes.
You know, we began to see black people as different.
It portrayed
James,
them in different light.
James was cool, but he could go off. But James was really cool, you know. But George Jefferson, man, that dude had a short fuse. It showed us that black people have dimension to them, and that's why I love that you're doing this, man.
So let's see. We go to, I said different, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, In Living Color.
Yes.
A show that said, hey, Saturday Night Live, you're good, but you've been completely missing out on, you know, it took a while for them to let Eddie Murphy off the chain. And,
yeah.
And you know what? I just realized how historically insensitive that phrase is, and especially in the context in which I just used it. Let me just walk that one back and say I didn't mean that. And what I meant is that they were obviously not allowing Eddie to do as much of his edgy comedy as they would, and then the whole show goes in the tank, and then they're like, you know what? This is the funniest motherfucker on the planet.
Yeah,
let's let him do it. And then the next thing you know, you got James Brown's Hot Tub Party.
Yeah,
which was probably one of the blackest things on TV you'd ever seen at that point in time,
man.
right?
Go ahead.
You know, so and
you could look back and say some of these things were insensitive, but once again, you know, for the time in which they were made, both in Living Color, because there were some characters on there that we look back now and go, I don't know.
But you know, to me, you have to both look at something through the lens of its own time.
Yes. And that's where I was
the
going.
modern day, and try to reconcile those things. Right.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. You know what? Thomas Jefferson owned slaves, but he also helped write the Constitution. These are things that you have to reconcile and ask yourself how much weight to give these different things. In Living Color was like, people always ask, oh, you know, why at these gay pride parades do people, you know, dress the way they do and behave the way they do? Because for 30 years, you told them they couldn't. That they couldn't express themselves at all. So now that they can, it's going to be like fucking Mardi Gras. They're going to go crazy. They're going to go over the top. So yeah, is Jamie Foxx doing Shaniqua on Martin?
Yeah,
completely over the top and kind of offensive right now. To a certain extent, it is. but only in retrospect. And you know what?
Right.
We're about to have a fucking awesome segue because of what you just did with Men on Film. So let me finish this up
Yes.
because this is going on. Yeah, In Living Color was the last one, which is sad that History Channel is saying that we stopped having important, Black TV shows, because I would now add in Blackish, Mixed-ish. I would add in
Yeah.
the
Black AF.
Black AF. There's a show called, it's about black and white relations out of college right now. Shit, I can't think of the name of it, but I want to say it's on HBO or Showtime.
Huh.
And it started
Anybody
from
out there? Anybody out there know? I don't know.
but somebody even mentioned it here. Red Table discussion. I mean, there's so much going on. So let's get to the shot. And
Okay.
I just want to say those shows were influential in American TV history, and several of them definitely influenced me to embrace and think about Black culture and about it specifically, but also how we all interact. We're supposedly a melting pot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So sláinte to those people
Sláinte.
for doing it.
Yep.
As we segue, because you said,
well, real quick, because I've got
Yeah.
it pulled up. But before we segue, I know you mentioned Jefferson. Here's the thing that I have with Jefferson, though, and Gia kind of hinted to it.
Yeah.
He took his technical brother-in-law with him to go write the to write the Declaration. He took his brother-in-law with him to be his servant. That's a little known fact, but the guy that was his servant was technically his brother-in-law because of, because of the rape of slave women and stuff like that. Now, here's the deal. I'm a historian and I understand historical context very, very well. However, douchebags are douchebags. And, do I want the task of writing the Constitution or the Declaration? Hell no. But it was anyway. That's a whole nother show. I just wanted to get that out there, though, man. And I know you know that. I know
it demonstrates a duality of people and a duality of how the zeitgeist sort of influences people, and sometimes they should be able to think beyond that. We talk about our founding fathers with such reverence, but we need to acknowledge they were just men with flaws, with massive flaws. Several of them were, look, if watching and rewatching and learning more and more about Alexander Hamilton in the last couple of years has taught us anything, guy was kind of a dick. He was a bit of a misogynist, and clearly had different view of the world. Doesn't change the fact that his contributions were great too. It goes back.
He was brilliant.
It goes back to the Bill Cosby thing. Guy did some great things. Guy also did some horrible things. And in the middle, I would argue that as he got older, he became a bit divisive to the Black community, because he was very pull your damn pants up. Nah, dude, come on.
It's like
you're playing into, in my opinion, a certain white centric image of how Black youth culture is supposed to be, when nobody's saying, hey, white dudes don't, why are you wearing dreads? You're a white kid at a small college in Southern Indiana. That's dumb.
Yep.
But
anyway,
this is awesome. This is how symbiotic this works. You mentioned men on film, which is a very, very over the top gay stereotype.
Yes.
Which was quote unquote acceptable at the time because of how gay culture was viewed. You didn't have gay representation on television. You didn't have Will and Grace just yet. But there is apparently a controversy going on right now.
Mm-hmm. I'm about to share my screen and show you
that. Yeah, go ahead and share your screen. I'll just continue talking.
Yeah, go.
So there is a Netflix movie called The Prom.
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen it. I've seen a scene because Amy was watching part of it when I happened to walk into the room. And as far as I can tell, the controversy itself is sort of threefold. This is my understanding of it. The first is that James Corden plays a gay man, and he plays him to the same sort of extremes that are sort of apparent in
Like the birdcage.
well, oh, it's awesome that you said that, because my wifey said the exact same thing earlier. But yes, that it's considered gay face, if you will, and that it's sort of offensive and over the top, yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
The second aspect of it is that people are upset that James Corden, whatever they thought of, whether it was over the top, gay or not, just that it wasn't a great performance, and that there were a lot more deserving people. I guess there's a show called I May Destroy You that an awful lot of people are like, this is a far better show. It blah, 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 blah. And again, I'm not trying to dismiss. I'm saying I don't know all the details here, so I'm not going to pretend I do. But to me, I think the biggest issue that a lot of people are upset about is that James Corden is a straight man
Mm-hmm.
playing a gay character, and there's plenty of out gay actors willing to do so. I have a lot of questions, and I'm going to preface this up front.
You're probably going to get ready and say the same thing I'm going to say, but go ahead, brother.
That I am allowed to have opinions on anything, because anybody is, but mine shouldn't be given a whole lot of weight, because I'm not an openly gay man. I don't follow the Golden Globes closely. I don't have, it's not for me to say what's offensive to any individual person.
Yeah.
But here goes.
Okay.
On the first point, it's if at any point in time somebody says or does something and you find it offensive, then that's legitimate. That should be respected. So I'm not going to tell you you're not supposed to be offended by someone's over the top performance. But as I gather it, the entire film is an over the top performance. It's an exaggeration of everyone being portrayed. And I can say this, in the 5 minutes that I watched, Meryl Streep is an actress portraying a very caricature, stereotypical, small-minded, elite white woman.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I understand why that doesn't get the same element of criticism that a James Corden overplaying a gay character would, because it's punching up, not down, right? There's a huge difference.
Yeah.
But the whole film, as I understand it, is meant to be a parody, a caricature, an over the top representation. Everything is broad strokes. It's meant to be flipping things on their head a little bit. Like, this is way too much. Everybody is way too much. It's meant to be a Broadway play on the screen, which in and of itself is just over the top. The second point, I completely have to just punt on, because I just don't watch enough TV shows to tell you whether or not one of these is better than another. I don't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I watched a couple episodes of The Wire this week, so I'm trying.
There you go.
I'm trying to catch up.
Yes.
But I don't watch enough TV to be able to weigh in and be like, you know what? Regardless of what you think of James Corden's performance, there were so many better. I don't know. There probably were. I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't. The third point, should a gay actor have gotten the role instead of James Corden? Again, this was one of those weird things, because representation does matter, except would people have been just as mad if Neil Patrick Harris got the role and played it the exact same way?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We I I they certainly couldn't argue anymore about it should have gone to a gay actor. But Neil Patrick Harris occasionally plays supremely stereotypically gay characters. And then you get into the whole, what does that even mean? Because I've met gay men who behave exactly like that.
Sure.
And I've met plenty of gay men that if you didn't say a word, you wouldn't have a clue.
Mhm.
And I don't mean say a word as in you can hear them. I mean, they'll sit there and they'll be like, yeah, man, how about that fucking Cowboys game? That they're men with the same interests. They just happen to like a dude. Like you would. There's nothing overt about them. I'm being clumsy about this, but it. On the one hand, it seems like a bit of a manufactured controversy. On the other, it's not for me to tell people what to be offended by, but we're talking about a performance. And the thing that got me was I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine a few years back. He's a black man. And when I compared the gay movement to the black movement, he said, yeah, but a gay man can hide being gay. Black man can't hide being black. So representation in this case means something different, because you've got one group of people arguing that he's caricaturing gayness, versus another group of people saying, well, but if you didn't behave that way, why would you? Like, the whole point is he's supposed to be a flamboyant gay character. I am wading in way too deep. If you can't see, I've got hip waders on. I got duck boots. I got everything. I don't even know where to go, man.
I got you.
So what do you think about this? Because you brought up with me and I had to do a little research. So
Yes.
what are your thoughts?
So I watched the movie, and I watched it from the perspective that it is this over the top musical type deal. It and I got to be honest, once again, I'm a cancer, right? So it hit the feels a couple times, and I was like, there were parts of it that was really sentimental, that was really it really got to me. When James Corden and Tracy Ullman, who played his mom, when they had a reckoning and an understanding, that hit. I mean, that hit really, really hard. Now, obviously, I don't have any place or context for that. Like I'm not a homosexual man, but I understand. No, let me take that back. I do not understand. I can sympathize and see the struggle that LGBTQI folks have. And I know how much it means to that struggle to have a family member, especially a parent, come back to you and say, it's okay. I accept you. I love you. And that's what hit me in the feels. I was like, yeah, that's really good. Stepping back from the whole thing and looking at it through the lenses of this controversy that's brewing. I agree, Gia. It would be good to have a guest person on here who is gay to kind of talk about this. We tossed that around a little bit today, but it was just too late. That doesn't mean in the future we won't come back to this. But thank you for that.
We put out an APB for a gay person.
Exactly. I think what's going on with me, at least, is that I've been spoiled. I've seen Spotlight with Mahershala Ali. I saw that, and I want to see the movie with Stanley Tucci and Colin Firth that's coming out. That's supposed to be absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And we see, even on shows like Schitt's Creek, we see, a gay character, but he's not, he's just himself. I mean, even what was the other show? Happy Endings. I don't know if you remember that show, Happy Endings, from ABC a little bit ago, but they had a gay character on there who was just himself. And I think at least from my perspective, I've been spoiled. I've been spoiled in the fact that, you know what, things have come a long way from those over the top, stereotypical, you know, gay renderings of who gay people are in the movies.
Mhm.
I appreciate, um, you know, Nathan Lane and what he did in the Birdcage. I appreciate.
But again, would viewing it through today's lens,
Well, yeah, no, like
are,
I said,
are Nathan Lane and Robin Williams way over the top in that, or are they actually a representative? I mean, on the one hand, everybody knows that gay couple, but if you don't know, now that's your
yes, that is
your template that this is going to be
template.
every gay couple.
Exactly. I think there are some in oh my gosh, Gia, get out of my
Yeah.
head. I think
exactly
there are
it.
some characters that do reflect those the minstrel shows, that do reflect those, you know, like over the top. You know, if you watch Jay-Z's video, The History of OJ, I mean, he just goes flat out with stereotypes. I mean, I think there are, you know, transferable things
That video is so
like
good.
that. It's so good because he, you know, he just throws it down and says it like it is. But I think that you have those characters too. I think that the most complex characters are the ones that show multiple sides of who they are. No matter if they are gay, no matter if they're black, no matter if, you know, it's a woman that actually isn't there for just eye candy, but actually there because she is playing an important part in that movie or in that show. I think that the more we get exposed to that, I think the more aware we're going to be whenever things like this arise.
Yeah.
Do I think James Corden did it because, you know, he is trying to bring back that stereotypical, you know, gay? No, not for a minute. Not for a minute. I think he played a character, but I think the character was poorly developed, and that's not necessarily his fault. I think that it is in the writing of the script. I very much believe that there could be a character, and I once again I forget his name from Schitt's Creek, but I go back to that because
David.
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 I think there could have been a character
fold it
like
in.
David.
Just fold it in. Just fold it in.
Boop. Anyway, you know, and I think that's the issue here. I think it's just two heterosexual guys trying to talk about a topic that is very hard to talk about. And here's what I was going to say at the beginning, and then I'll shut up, is that, you know what, if someone wants to put me in my place, I'm more than happy to be put in my place whenever it comes to this, because above all, I want to be an ally. I want to be someone shown to push forward.
I was going to say, I think we've framed a lot of this in the form of questions.
Yes.
And in the form of, I need more information in order to, all I can do is formulate opinion on the experiences I have and the information I have available. Yeah. And in this case, I don't have concrete rock solid opinions because I know I'm out of my depth here. I know I need some education on it. But Gia, I was
going to say, we got to read some of these
right
comments, man.
But did the writers mean it that way? I blame the writers. That's a great question. Who knows what was meant? Because maybe they were trying. I mean, every person in this show, from what I can gather, is an incredibly caricatured, over the top representation from the you know, producer of the show to, you know, the music teacher. All these different people are being portrayed outsized to what they would be. So it's not specific to the gay character. So should that necessarily be offensive? I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah.
And again, good comedy, good satire punches up. You don't punch down.
No.
That's weak. That's low hanging fruit. That it's always easy to make a gay joke or a black joke or a poverty joke. That shit's easy.
Yeah.
Make a joke about where all those things come together, or how what made Monty Python, in my opinion, such
Curb Your Enthusiasm. I was
such good comedy was that how often was the aristocracy portrayed as bumbling idiots?
Yep.
in Monty Python sketches, and what you would ordinarily consider a rube, the Irish farmer or whatever, is an engineer with advanced degrees and speaks about you know, classical music and shit.
Mhm.
That's a better form of it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, maybe the reality is that it, you know, back to my 3 point, you know, breakdown. Maybe it's just wasn't that good compared to other shows. Maybe it just doesn't deserve any notoriety, and it's only getting it because of how many people Netflix managed to get in the show. It's got Meryl Streep,
Yeah.
for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody's gonna watch that.
Right.
It,
Right.
it could be Meryl Streep taking out the trash, and people go, "Do you have any idea how good she was at that?"
Which,
Oh
by
my-
the way,
I don't think
Meryl
anyone's ever
Streep,
done it like that.
she looked fabulous in this movie. I'm just going to say she looked fabulous. But Gia sent me something today, and I know we're not going to get to it tonight, but it's about Sia.
Yep.
And
I'm absolutely with you. Absolutely.
you know,
with you.
and it you know, once again, it's difficult to speak to because it's like there's no part of me that intersects with this.
And you throw in the added element of this isn't a rights issue. This isn't a does somebody have access to a building issue. This is a how to represent groups of people when the inherent activity is acting.
Mm-hmm.
Because on some levels you could criticize any of it. Hey,
Sure.
you're not actually a cop. What are you doing playing a cop? Why couldn't you guys fucking find a cop to play a cop?
Yeah, right,
You,
right.
You theoretically could take that to ludicrous ends, but there is value to saying, hey, you know what? You know, maybe you obviously should have somebody from a Filipino background playing a Filipino character instead of just finding the most well-known Asian person that you can. Jackie Chan doesn't look Filipino, but all of a sudden he's in a Filipino movie.
Yeah.
You know, if they just went, you know what, let's take Evan. He's black. Evan's a black man from Ohio.
Yeah.
So
I'm not from the Bronx, man.
I'm not sure his understanding of Harlem is going to be a whole lot of help here.
That's not me. That's not me. Now, my man Nate that lives in Harlem.
But if Evan's a good actor, Evan's job is to understand. No, but this gets into this weird kind of paradox of, now, wait a second. I'm acting. I'm representing something else specifically because this is what I get paid to do. This is my job.
I think
I don't know where that line ends.
I think she nailed it with the comment. It's a representation and respect issue, which is also an education issue.
Hands up and agree. I don't know how you carve those lines. How do you gerrymander that line?
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to my favorite time of the show.
Hey,
notice I've lowered my voice to the sexy
level,
the sexy Idris Elba level.
Oh,
I have to wait. I'm sorry. I have to put on my my English accent.
You're gonna have to get deeper and very Cockney.
Oh man. Okay, I'll leave that alone. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it is Hey Aaron time, and whoop, whoop. Today, I decided, you know what, we're gonna put you to the test, Aaron. Like literally to the test. It is a timed test, and I'm gonna share my screen because you're going to have to look at it and I'm going to have to type it in.
All right.
But this timed test, I think you will enjoy, my friend. I really think you'll enjoy because it is, can you name the football, which should be pronounced football, club logos up close? This is an official Sporkle quiz. Okay. So there, and it's hilarious.
I love Sporkle quizzes.
You can get a score of 214. I don't know if that means there's 204. I'm not doing 214 for you. Okay, I'm sorry. I love you, brother, but you know there's a 20-minute timer. I'm like, nah.
So do you know if this is just English or is this everybody?
I do not know. This was given to me and it's represented. So you guys at home, please grab a piece of paper, play along, or you can shout out the answer or whatever if you want to. But Aaron, when you are ready, I will begin the quiz, man, and then you will have to look at the logo, which I know the first one is really incredibly easy, but after that, I don't know. But
I'm a dragon.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Arsenal.
Okay.
Aston Villa. Next.
Actually, 214. I'm going 10. I'm going 20. Let's go 20.
Yeah. Skip it.
Skip. Okay.
Chelsea.
Yes.
Crystal Palace.
Oh, come on.
Everton. Kind of helps when the team name is at the bottom.
Yeah, I
of the
know.
logo.
It's like, come on now. Ooh.
Hull City.
Whoa, what happened? Oh, no. Good call, dude. Dang, I didn't know that one. Ah, come on.
Leicester. Leicester.
Ah. Oh, City. There we go.
Liverpool. Yeah, this is kind of easy in the Premier League.
Gosh, this is horrible.
Manchester City.
Basically, it's how fast can I type? I'll go ahead. I got this one, man. I got this one. I got
Theater of Dreams.
Oh God.
Newcastle United.
I've got to talk. I got to talk to.
If they had cut off the bottom a little bit more, that'd be fine. The problem is Newcastle untied. Exactly. Queens Park Rangers. Thanks.
Oh my God.
Trust me, I'd have gotten that one anyway. It matches.
Justin, what are you doing to me, man?
It
I asked you
matches
for
the
like
uniforms.
God.
Southampton.
Oh God. You can see it.
Stoke City.
Yep.
No, I didn't even notice. Sheffield United.
Oh.
No.
Ooh, no. I spelled it right, right?
Yeah.
Sheffield. No, that's
No. Skip it.
okay. I don't know what that is.
Swansea
Yep.
City. Tottenham Hotspur.
This is like a dud, brother. Man.
Well,
Oh my God.
It's Premier League teams, man. West Bromwich Albion.
Let's get to
I didn't know that Albion is an old term for.
Did I spell it
for
wrong?
England? ION. WICH. Albion.
Oh, okay. My bad.
No, you're fine.
Ugh.
West Ham United. They won today.
Did they?
Yeah. Jesse Lingard scored 2 on his debut.
Whoa. I'm having trouble with that one.
Sheffield United.
Is that Chef?
I think so.
No. Oh.
Bournemouth.
Dang it. See?
Well done. Good job, sir.
Thank you.
Middlesbrough. Shout out to Janet and Heather. Derby County, DERBY.
What?
DERBY.
DE. My bad. County.
DERBY.
Oh God.
D for David. For some reason they pronounce it Darby, but
Beer.
They're wrong.
Beer is good.
Ipswich Town.
Are you serious? Wow, dude.
Watford.
I'm just filling them in if I know them because I know you will know them. Wow.
Norwich City.
What? Good call, dude.
Brentford. Brentford.
Oh, Brent, my fault. I don't even know who they are. Oh, Wolves. What is it?
Wolverhampton.
Yes, Wolverhampton. Hampton.
Yeah. PTON. Wanderers. Wanderers.
Oh, Wanderers. Huh.
Just type Wolves.
Good call.
Blackburn. Rovers.
Dang, man. 3 more.
Skip.
Man, I don't know that one.
I know the logo. What? Sheffield Wednesday.
Holy crap. Sheffield Wednesday?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Dude, that's amazing.
Leeds United.
Last one.
Boy, I don't know that one.
Oh.
Sheffield Town? No, it's Macclesfield Town.
Maccles.
2 C's. No. Maybe it is Sheffield Town. I don't know about that though.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's move.
Let's get me to 30. Bolton Wanderers.
Bolton.
Yes.
Up. There you go. Excellent job, man. Holy cow.
I don't know if it's possible to do 214 of them in 20 minutes. That's a lot.
Wow.
I do those Sporkle quizzes a lot, and some of them are just like, there's no way you're gonna get this.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why he's one of my best friends. I just want to say, you know what? It was lit tonight. Had a good time. Thank you so much. My second favorite part of the show is right now. Aaron, send us out with your final word, my friend.
I will. Good times. It's fun to just be able to choose some fun things to talk about like you normally would, rather than having some deranged baboon tweeting to the world, and that forces you to talk about it for the next day. So that's been kind of nice lately. It's a stress release. Along those lines, still COVID going on. So and still winter going on. We got dumped on, and then it froze. So we're stuck inside. So find your fun. Get out that chessboard that you haven't played in a while. Hook up sit at the piano and just plink on the keys. Change it up, have a little fun. Order some local carry out.
Support local business.
And I tell you, it was fun having it's fun to have a conversation knowing that I need so much help, that I want more people to participate. So Gia would be happy to have your brother-in-law, I don't know.
No, it's her
brother come on the show to talk about representation and talk about these types of things, because this is the only way we move the dialogue forward. And the beauty is everybody here kind of recognizes that they want to, that they might not understand something and might even be a little, like, why does that need to be in this case? But I'm willing to hear. I'm willing to talk to those people. Honestly, I'd love to have, as much as they oppose, I'd love to have somebody from the NRA, not from the NRA, but somebody who was an NRA member come on and talk and have conversations. I want to have.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. I hear you.
I was not equating those two things, because it's certainly not an opposition type thing. I'm not going to like argue about gay representation. I just mean I want to talk more about the areas that I don't know about. And this is one of them. And I want to be able to be a better ally for it. I want to be able to articulate why my friend would find something. I don't necessarily have to find something offensive to agree, to agree with you necessarily about why something would be offensive to the Black community or Ohio State fans. It doesn't matter if we're trying to be better friends. If we actually do believe in this unity kind of thing, it's about at least understanding. If you can't find common ground, you at least understand another person's point of view.
There you go. That's why I wore the hat.
But
Just saying.
yeah, well, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And I think we'll see what happens next year. And on that note, thank you all for tuning in. Always love having the discussion and people participating. It's fantastic. Just so cool that we do this. This is episode 43.
Unbelievable. 12 away. 12 episodes away.
So we are closing in on it.
Wait, no.
Yeah.
9 episodes.
I wasn't going to do it to you.
9.
And even less than that, because we've skipped a week or two here and there. So regardless, thank you all for tuning in. We will be here next week, and stay safe. Love you all.
Black people vote.
Black
Keep
people
voting.
vote.
Keep voting. Keep voting.